So today's video is going to show you how to take this wood orb and create a beautiful beaded bouquet like this. So the inspiration for this design that we're going to do today came from our trips to Europe. The last couple of years, Jamie and I have spent quite an amount of time traveling Europe. One of my favorite places is London and Paris, of course. But we pick up these books and have lots of different books in the studio. Flipping through is what I'm inspired about. Right now, I'm extremely inspired by royalty and how they were back in the day, and their gowns and their jewelry and their stories. And so like Marie Antoinette, I love her story. She was always seen with pearls and plumes and just majesty. And then we have the Tudors, which completely obsessed with right now, watching all the documentaries on TV about them, watching all the movies, in love with them, and especially one that I find extremely enthralling, it was Queen Elizabeth. I think amazing leader, her story's amazing. But again, I've noticed pearls were such an important factor in her garments and jewels and the colors. And so this is what we're inspired about today. So I've been going through the books and going through what we have here in the studio to come up with something to pay tribute to the great leaders. And so we had all of these wooden beads in the studio. And they've been here for a while. It was one of those impulse buys. I saw them and I just had to have them. I'm sure like a lot of you see things and you know you have to have them. So we have 20 millimeters, sorry, I have to have a cheat note, 20 millimeter balls down to a 12-inch millimeter. And I thought I could create something out of these and make them look pretty majestic for what I want to do. So we have our spool of 14 gauge wire, and I thought let's create some string of pearls. I love the pearls in all the pictures and all the portraits, and let's create some string of pearls. So I'm going to actually feed some of the beads right on. And for this design, I didn't create a pattern of sizes. I really wanted just a string of one size. You could, of course, create a pattern if you like. Really, totally up to you. But this goes back to being inspired, like inspired by these leaders, inspired by my trips abroad, and then seeing what we have in the studio and what it can become. So once you have wound those onto your wire, take your needle nose and just fold it back like so. Feed the beads down to where it goes. Cut off the wire. Cut a little bit more. And then just feed this back on. What the wire is going to do, it's going to let us create a shape out of the beads. I would go much longer, and then the ones we pre-made, I'm going to show you, we did go pretty long on them. But the wire is going to give you the movement you need. So once you have them strung, we need to color enhance them. And so what we used originally was this gloss white. We sprayed this with the gloss white paint over, let it dry, sprayed it again. The wood did absorb some of it, so we did 2 coats on there with the gloss white. And then we covered it with this pearl mist, because I want these to look like strings of pearls. And the pearl mist is fabulous. It really does work great. Something I learned, when you're done using this and you still have some paint in there, turn it upside down and give it a spray, and that'll remove the clogs from the nozzles. I kept clogging them because what happens is the pearlescent that comes out dries within the nozzle, and hot water and wire doesn't clean it out like we would normally do. So just make sure you turn it upside down, give it a squirt, and it cleans it out. So those are the two paints we do. So once we have these all painted and our bead strands, I will show you what they end up looking like. So these are some of the bead strands. You see they're a little bit longer, and I don't know, the cameras are usually pretty good. You can see that they do have a pearlescent to it. They do look like pearls. And these are the different sizes. And you'll notice all different lengths. And it still has the wires. So, I mean, that's what really we want. We want to move it around. So to create our armature, what you're going to want to do is take a piece and just put it around. When I started thinking about what I wanted the armature to look like, I started envisioning kind of what it would have been like if they just took the pearls off at the end of the day and they were just thrown on the nightstand. Because back in the day, I wonder if the people with money realized how valuable they were. So they just don't care about that stuff like I would or you. So I just imagine what a pile of pearls at the end of the day would look like on the nightstand. And so that's kind of what I want to create. So to connect the two after I've woven them into each other, I just loosened up one of the wires that we had before, fed it through the other side, and then closed it back up. And that is how you start the design and you start the armature. Before I go on, I want to show you what we could do to cover up this wire piece. So use your dashes, and I have some double satin here, white, number 3. I'm just going to take a piece of that, put a dash on one side, and just start feeding it to cover that wire. Take another dash so you can finish it off. Peel off the backing and just wrap it around. So that will cover off where the pearl was. It doesn't look so unsightly then. What we do for the frayed edges, we just take a lighter and we just light them up on fire. That seals that ribbon so it won't fray on you anymore. And if you do it pretty quickly, you won't get that brown burnt spot. It just kind of cleans that up. So that's what you would want to do for your initial design. And you just kind of keep feeding these in to each other, creating the armature of pearls. And again, open up one wire, seal it around, and close it off. And you would again do the ribbon on here. So you can kind of see where this is going in the sense of the armature for the design. I pre-made the starts of one, and I want to show you that now. So this is pre-made start of an armature. Do you see how it kind of just looks like a bunch of pearls just thrown onto a table? I love it. I really do. I thought it turned out really great. We can definitely add some more to it if you want it to be a little bit longer. You can go on. And I think that the size differences really play well with it. And You're going to finish this off. In the back. The nice thing about the wire is once it's done, you can add some dimension to it by simply moving the wires around. This one is getting a little tight. And you can twist and give it a nice curve. You don't want no jagged edge, you really want it to look more natural. I think it needs one more sizable one up on top. And you just feed it through. This is the fun things about being creative, right? You can do whatever you want. Some trips to Europe and looking at their jewelry and their garments and imagining what it was like back then made me create something like this. And again, I love seeing what you guys are doing out there with the inspiration from these videos, so please keep sending me the images. I love seeing them. I love the sharing of them. So this is basically where it's going to be, and then we're going to add some floral to it. So now that we have the armature beads together, it's all tied up, we're going to add some flowers to it. I wanted to stay with the jewel tones of the time and bring out some. So I found these plumes at our local wholesaler. I honestly don't know what it is. I was walking around and I saw them and I knew that I had to have them for some reason. And as you watch my videos, you realize I do buy a lot of stuff like that because I know one day I'm going to have it. I'm not a hoarder, but I do keep stuff. So I found these. Speaking of this, it's a great thing to do. Spend some time at your wholesale house and walk through aisles and areas that you normally wouldn't go to. We get very stuck in our own patterns and we just buy what we normally do. Spend some time seeing what else is there. So we have this we're going to utilize. We have some beautiful emerald green dried product that was painted. Some Macara orchids, some spray roses, some beautiful burgundy dianthus, some gladiola florets, pincushion, anemone. Isn't that beautiful color? I love that. And then we have these gorgeous mango callas. So these are the floral that we're going to add into it. We're going to add it in by gluing the items in with our floral adhesive. I keep a pin in there so it doesn't clog up. So take our part, and I want to group some of these in. I want it to look like I've noticed lots of brooches on their garments. So let me just glue these and let it get a little tacky. So I'm going to group these florals together, the bigger pieces, so it looks like brooches within this. And while that's getting tacky, I'm going to go ahead and glue in the pin cushions. Make sure you seal the base of the floral so it holds some moisture. And yes, I know pin cushions were not of the time, but most of these flowers were not of the time. And I just love the color and the texture of these. So go ahead and start placing these in. I like the idea of them gathered and also underneath some of the pearls. They don't all need to be on top. I want to have that depth happening. Especially these bigger pieces. Move some of the pearls about, and you could put some of these bigger pieces within. Put some dianthus in. And I've talked before, and I want to mention again, this is maybe not something you would do for an everyday bride, but this would be great for a photo shoot, bridal show, show your creativity, or for nothing else, just do it for yourself. We get stuck in the grind of doing, our everyday work. You're first and foremost a floral artist. So get out there and design for you and what inspires you. And I'm going to put some of this deep, beautiful burgundy throughout it. And love these. These are gorgeous. And the nice thing about this glue is when these flowers do pass away, I'll be able to just pull this right off of the beads. And if there's any residue left, we could just take this outside and respray it. And so you still have your structure, display your structure within your space, so that way people can see just everything that you're capable of. Pretty. Let's pop some more of these in. Now we're going to do a little bit of the Macara. This is not a lot of product going into the design. Actually, it's very little of the product itself. When I do orchids in a design, I like to make sure they're all facing the same way. So you'll notice the throats are all facing one direction. I like to keep that as a visual. And let's throw some of these roses. And this is just a tribute to my fascination with Europe, the monarchies, our trips abroad, and just, God, if I would have lived in that time, I would have wanted to be royalty. I couldn't have been somebody who lived downstairs. I would really want to have the pearls and the dressers and the gowns. Back then, men wore heels, and it was okay. Slowly bringing that back, I think. And I want to just add a little bit of emerald. Let's go ahead and, these aren't going to sit. And these are just going to bring in some of that color. Dried material is so popular. Everybody is using some of this dried material, the bleached material. For those of us who have been in the industry a long time, we remember when this is what we used to use all the time, was different dried products. Well, now it's coming right back. So go ahead and get excited about it. Start using it. And again, the bigger product is grouped, the gladiola blooms and the pin cushion, they're grouped, but these smaller florets kind of putting around just as accents. And then they always had plumes. Love these. So I'm just going to feed some of these through the back. They are shedding. This is turning out so pretty. And I'm only going to group them at the top, and I'm going to do another grouping at the bottom to kind of carry that through. And I was going to use the orange callas, but now that I'm designing this, I really don't think the orange callas would work. I think they're going to be too big, so I am going to skip on those. If you're wondering why we didn't put those in. That's pretty. I'm going to grab a little bit more plumes. But this gives you an idea of where we're starting with this. I'm going to grab a couple of blooms that are sitting over here. I want to add some more of this deep purple and these hot pink. As you're doing it, go ahead and check and add, and keep your product close behind you, like as you see mine is. I just think these purple anemones are everything, and the color, the velvety purple, is perfect for this, what we're trying to portray. And I am taking all of the foliage off because I really do only want to see the flower itself. This would be great for a photo shoot. So we have those, and I want one more bunch of the plumes. I'm going to show you how we did that. So this is how the plumes came, just dried material. Take your white floral tape, grab yourself a grouping, however much you want. And just tape it off. I used white because I thought it would just fade away in the design. So, and then cut off. And then you'll have a grouping of plume. Let's do one more. They do get everywhere, don't they? I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on these. Hold it up. Put one there. And one of these coming out the bottom. This one is pulling. So this is our design of string of pearls. We got the plumes. I'm going to probably add a little bit more to that. So I know I said I wanted to do just the plumes going diagonal, but I really kind of like them feeding through. I think it adds a little bit of softness to the bouquet. So we have a couple more here we'll just add. So this is the bouquet, pretty much finished for you to see. So this wood bead became the base for this whole bouquet. It shows you where inspiration can come from many different facets of your life. Be designing, be inspired, be original, be you. I hope you like this. If you like this, please subscribe and like below, and follow us for more videos coming soon. Thank you. Have a great day.